Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be ranking every episode from Season 1 of Tales from the Crypt. Now there's only 6 episodes, so I don't think this video will be a long one, but I thought that about Buffy when I ranked all 12 episodes of Season 1 of that, and that episode was about 59 minutes long, so who knows. It's strange, from over the past few weeks from watching the show, I had like an idea in my head of where things kind of fell, but then when I was editing them and uploading them to YouTube, and then I put this list together, a few of them did change place, so some of them might be in a slightly different place to where I expect them to be. I'll be interested to know what your list is. Please put in the comments below either your list of all 6 or like your favourite and your least favourite. Because it's interesting to me to see what people's favourites are. But for some reason I always find it more interesting to find out what people's least favourites are as well. And why. Because I know that a lot of lists people just put, this is my favourite one. But I also really like to know, what's your bottom, which one do you hate, or which one do you like the least? If this is the first time you're tuning into the channel, hi, nice to meet you. My name's Scott. If you're a big fan of Tales from the Crypt, it's nice to have you here. Let me know in the comments below what your ranking is, what your favourite is, and what your least favourite is. I'm super interested to know. If this is the first time that you're watching my channel, I've done a reaction to all 6 episodes. Just click onto my channel, there'll be a playlist on there with all 6 episodes and the reactions for each of them. So anyway, jumping onto my list, starting with what's in 6th place, the one that started it all, the man who was death. Now, I'm torn between whether it's a shame that they started with what I would class as a weak one, because I always feel like with pilot episodes or the first episode of a TV show, it's good to start with a strong one, and then sometimes they dip a little bit and then go back up again throughout various points of the season. So is it bad that they started with the weak one for me, or is it good that they started with what I class as one of the worst ones, and then they got better and better? That's up to you to decide, but for me, The Man Who Was Death was just missing something. And so the show primarily is like a horror show, but has a lot of comedy, black comedy and dark comedy in there. The Man Who Was Deaf doesn't really hit either of those. It's at no point is it scary, at no point is it funny. It doesn't really have a look at it doesn't really have like a message that it tries to betray to you like only Sin Deep does, but we'll get to that. It's interesting. It's a story. So essentially, for those who've not watched it, if for some reason you're watching this episode, The Man Who Was Death is about a guy who works as an executioner. He's the guy in the prison who, when someone's been sent to death on the electric chair, he pulls a lever. And he loses his job because the death penalty is outlawed. So he no longer has a job. And because he loses that sense of purpose in his life, he then goes around killing people who get off in court when they should have been found guilty and electrocutes them. And like I mentioned at the time, it's very similar in some ways to Dexter. And so in that way, it is interesting. Yeah, his motives are valid, and I don't think anyone could blame him for killing the people that he does, because they're quite awful people. You just don't, whilst it does spend some time with the character, I guess there's just something missing in, you don't really emphasise with him. It just happens to him, and you just follow his story. And part of that is because it's only 20 minutes long, and they are limited in what they can do. But yeah, just for me, this episode, maybe it's with all the talking to the camera and the weird music choices, which again are not bad. It just seems odd to have this first. And just for that reason why, for me, every episode after that is better. And it just missing something for me. And when he killed the guys, I was like happy for him because the guys were not nice. But yeah, to me this is just the weakest one. In 5th place, I've gone for Dig That Cat, He's Real Gone. Now when I watched this one, and even when I edited it and edited another one and I commented on it in the beginning, I thought this was going to be at the bottom of my list because it was just a bit too weird at the time when I watched it. I felt like I was just taken back by the repetitiveness of the episode. So I should probably do a little recap of each episode, just like a one-line thing. So in this episode, a guy goes into an experiment. This guy has an experiment with a scientist where he gets a gland from a cat, which gives him 9 lives. And he uses those 9 lives in a circus act and ends up getting buried alive. We'll get to that. But like I said at the time, the episode is very formulaic. We have the experiment at the beginning, which is interesting, great. And then this guy goes to work for the carnival, and it was just death scene, death scene, death scene, death scene. Now, there were some interesting bits in there, like the fact that one of the deaths was caused by his girlfriend when she stabbed him in the back. to get the money that he'd made. One of the deaths was caused by him crashing a car to kill the doctor to get their money. But it was just a death after death after death. Now, what made me change my mind for putting this in the bottom was the twist. I think looking back on it, the twist was really interesting. I did comment on at the time that I kind of guessed it early on, that the fact that the cat had to die to give the guy his 9 lives meant that the cat died. That's one of the lives gone. So now he's got 8. So when he gets buried alive as part of the circus act, he then realises, oh no, I don't have any more deaths. So when I die here, that's it. So I don't think I really appreciated at the time how good that twist was. And that's what kind of elevated it now to me above The Man Who Was Death. Because it was a really good twist. And I wish I didn't guess it. Because I feel like if I didn't guess it and I got to the ending and I was shocked by it, that would have been great. And it's smart because it gives you all the clues that you need. Good twists in TV shows and films give you all the clues that you need to know throughout the episode or film or whatever, so that you can guess the twist. Or when you go back and watch it, the twist makes sense and you can pick up on the clues second time round. And that's what this did. It gives you all the clues from the start. The cat is there. The cat is dead. It shows you the dead cat. And now this guy's got 9 lives. Obviously, I put it together. Some people won't. And that's probably better for them because I wish I didn't guess it. But it is a really good twist. The episode as a whole, while it's at the bottom because I said, like I said, it's repetitive. But the side characters I didn't like. The ringleader of the circus was a bit annoying. His girlfriend was very annoying. Her voice was irritating. Intentionally. I get it. It was meant to be irritating. The whole point was that she's just like, really squeaky. I'm not even going to try and do it because I've got a deep voice. I can't go squeaky. Really squeaky, irritating, high-pitched, constantly. And that's who she is, and that's intentional. I get that. But it was hard to listen to. But overall, the episode was fun. It wasn't bad. It was fun. It was just a little bit low for me because I enjoyed the next 4 more. In 4th place, I put Only Sin Deep. Now, this is the episode where the woman agrees to have a mould of her face in exchange for a lot of money. And she then has this makeover, becomes more beautiful, to woo a rich guy, has this rich life, but doesn't pay back in time the guy who moulded her face. He basically puts a curse on her to start making her uglier and uglier. This episode was weird. I don't know if it was because I didn't get the actions of the main lady or what. Like, looking back, thinking about it logically, she wants this rich man, and like I said at the time, she has this makeover, but she doesn't look any different. She just has better clothes on. But she got to this whole makeover thing and goes to woo this rich man, but she could have done that anyway. Because yeah, she was a sex worker, but she could have gone over there and dressed up a bit and it would have had the same effect. But I suppose she needed the money from the experiment. She could have paid that back ages ago, though. She only went back to find out what was going wrong when she started turning ugly. But I suppose that does lend to a character is selfish, doesn't really think about her actions so much. I don't get why she wanted this guy so much, other than the fact of his money, because he wasn't a nice guy. And then again, she shot him and she killed him, and I didn't really understand why. So maybe some of these actions do make sense, but there are actions that the character takes throughout that don't have a good reason to me. Like the fact that she killed her husband, the fact that she killed her boyfriend. I guess she was trying to steal some of his stuff, but I feel like she could have easily got out of that without shooting and killing him. And then she could have gone back, paid the money, and got back to a normal life, or the rich life that she wanted. But because she killed him, she then realised that she couldn't turn back into who she was, because her face was all over the papers within about 5 minutes of her killing him. Still don't know how that happened. But the episode overall had a good message that to kind of love the skin you're in, sort of, I suppose. And that she shouldn't have gone for this experiment and she shouldn't have been selfish. Whilst I don't think she made a mistake in having her face moulded, she did kill her pimp. She did kill her partner. She wasn't a nice person. But it did show her character, and I just feel like she could have made different choices and had a better outcome for herself. And yeah, that's easy for me to say that as someone who's watching it. She was in a different circumstance. She was a sex worker. She did have a rough life. But it was interesting. It was interesting to see her decline and the journey that the character takes from being on the streets to working her way into this rich life and how she dealt with that. That was interesting, and it was fun to see her decline. But I think you're meant to. I don't know if you're meant to root for her in this. Really, I think it's a bit unclear how you're meant to see the character because she's innocent at the start, but then she does kill two people. So yeah, the whole story was actually interesting and had a good message and a good ending to it where she just realised that the actions that she took meant that she was ugly. Whether she made the face right or not, she's still an ugly person. So that was in fourth place. In third place for me, I've gone for episode 5, Lover Come Hacked Me. This was a fun episode. This was an episode... Okay, so the episode was about a couple who get stranded in the middle of a storm. They hide out in a nearby house. Long story short, the wife has planned to kill the husband after getting impregnated. It was interesting because it was pretty obvious from the start for me that the wife was going to kill him. But I don't know if you're meant to guess it or not, or whether it's meant to be a twist. Because the twist comes later on where we see the guy kind of have a vision of his wife's mother taking someone to the house, killing them after she gets impregnated. And then he realises, then obviously he wakes up, and then the wife does it to him. So I'm not sure whether you meant to know from the start, but there was just a lot of coincidences for me where, like, they just happened to break down near her house. She just happened to kick the plant pot back, and there was a key there. There was things in the house that they needed, candles, lighters. The bedroom was all made up. Like I said for episode 3, the Dig of That Cat episode, a good episode has a good twist, which is set up from the start, which I think this one was. Like, if you watch it a second time round, you can go, well, that was obvious. Well, that was obvious. That was obvious. How did they not pick up on that? So that was really funny, just to see this quiet, innocent, shy lady put in this plan together and put it into action. And it did a really good job of making the husband really unlikable. Like, he wasn't a nice guy. And it was clear that he married her for her money from the start, but it wasn't hidden from the viewers. He kind of said it whenever she wasn't around. He kind of had like he'd said like, I love you, I love your bank account, or whatever. There was a couple of lines that he said that were similar to that. And it was interesting to see him get his comeuppance because it made him very unlikable throughout. The whole tradition aspect of the episode was interesting as well. So it kind of became clear that this was like a family ritual that they do. That they always marry a guy, take him to the house, have sex with him, get impregnated. As soon as that job's done, they kill him with an axe. So like at the end, she mentions that her daughter that she's now pregnant with is going to need someone eventually. And that's another confusing point to me was the auntie. I said it at the time, but when she was shouting at the guy at the beginning that he was only marrying the niece for the money, if she knew what the niece was going to do, why would she bother? Why wouldn't she just let him go and kill him? That's not like a negative, it's just something I don't think I fully understood. Maybe that's just me. But overall, it's a really fun episode. It's a good tension story, because if you don't know that the wife's going to kill the husband, you think that the husband's going to kill the wife, maybe. That maybe now they're married, he can kill her. There's just like a little bit of tension underlying throughout, and if you don't pick up on the clues, you're not sure where it's going to go. So that's why I think it's a good episode, and came in third place for me. In second place, I've gone for Collection Completed. I did struggle for a while to decide whether to put this in first or second, because I love this episode, and I love whatever episode is left. But eventually I went for this in second place. This is a really great episode. I don't really have any flaws, really, for this. This episode is such a weird episode of television. If you've not seen it, and for some reason you're watching this, go watch it. It's just 20-25 minutes of weird life and music and characters. It's just very strange. And I mentioned it at the time, but this channel started as like a horror-ish channel. And I'd say this episode is almost no horror at all. But I love it because it's just so strange and weird. And it's a story... Okay, I keep forgetting to talk about the stories, but essentially, a woman who's been neglected by her husband for, I think it was 47 years, and is basically going close to all these cats and dogs and animals that are in the neighbourhood and that she keeps as pets. He retires, finds out what her life's like, doesn't like it, and ends up killing and stuffing all the animals. The creative choices for this episode are what makes it so unique and so memorable. and so perfect, and why I probably watched it. Like I said, I watched it recently, and then I watched it again for this channel, and I loved it just as much. The woman is clearly mentally unhinged, so I should probably be more worried for her than I am. But I think the actress plays her so well, in that she's this crazy, lonely lady that it's just strange. I don't even know what to say about the episode. It's fun to see the husband get his comeuppance. He's neglectful, he's angry, he's awful, he's semi-abusive to her in terms of mentally more than physically. And he's just a horrible person, really. And so it's really nice to see him get his comeuppance. Like with Love Come Back to Me, and I said it before, it is good to see them when, they get what they deserve, essentially. So that was fun. I don't even know how to describe this episode. It's just so weird, but it's so memorable and fun. And let's be honest, animals are better than people every time. So it's nice to see the fact that she defends them so much, and they've given her comfort over all this time that the husband hasn't. And so she's relatable in that sense. But overall, I'd give this episode easily a 10 out of 10. I guess the reason I didn't put it number 1 is because the episode that I did put in first place has actual horror. And whilst this episode did have little touches of it towards the end, when the husband was killing the animals and stroking them in the basement, weird. Episode 1 has more horror for me, which is pretty much the only reason why it's above, because this is a great episode. This one, number 1, it means there were 2 favourite episodes of season 1 of Tales from the Crypt. And in first place, you've pretty much worked it out. If you've watched the season, or if you've watched much of my channel, you'll know what it is. I've gone for episode 2, and All Through the House. This is the Christmas episode where an evil Santa tries to attack and kill a woman after she's just murdered her own husband. This episode was great. Like episode 6, this episode was fantastic, and was really where I fell in love with the series, because I didn't love episode 1 so much. Episode 2 I thought was amazing. And yeah, I'm biased because I love Christmas. And pretty much anything Christmas themed, I always have a soft spot for, because it's my favourite time of year. And I just Christmas. Even if it's scary, I love it. Like Silent Night, Deadly Night, Black Christmas, not the new one. It's great. And I just thought it was a really fun story where this woman was trying to cover up the fact that she just murdered her husband for his money in his will, whilst getting chased and attacked by a mental patient dressed as Santa. And then, like I said from the start, if she does this properly and thinks about this, she can easily kill the Santa, because she had multiple opportunities to kill him and she didn't. Like most horror films, if it was me, once they were down, I would just be stabbing or taking the axe he was using and chopping his head off. And if she was smart, she could have easily blamed the death of her husband on the Santa. And that's what she tried to do eventually. But she was a fun character because she was just, you don't root for her. She's not nice. She killed her husband. Chances are she's killed other husbands because she's got a daughter. So she's got at least an ex-partner. And maybe she'll go on to kill the guy that she's talking to on the phone. But not just that, is that she's a really terrible mother. And I did a post and a Tales from the Crypt group on Facebook about this. Loads of people liked it and they agreed, yeah, she's terrible. And yeah, she's meant to be terrible. And that's the whole point of it, I agree. But it's just funny how through the whole episode, other than when she puts her daughter to sleep in the beginning and she seems quite sweet, she pays no attention to the fact that her daughter's in the house whilst this killer's running around. She never once considers going upstairs to hide her daughter under the bed or in a closet, or just telling her to go and hide somewhere safe. All she cares about is herself and the fact that there's a dead body at the front that she killed. Or if the police came, she could have easily got away with it, but because she kept putting off the police coming, the fact that once Santa was there, she could have called the police and gone, he's here, come now. They would have come, hopefully sooner rather than later. And she could have gone, yeah, they killed my husband. I know she did kill him with a fire poker, but she could have got away with it. She could easily have just said, I chased him, I hit him with the axe, he broke into the house, and then used the fire poker. But it's just a fun home invasion slashery vibe to it, based at Christmas. So there's all this cheery Christmas music that they use, chestnuts roasting on an open fire, I can't remember what else. There's a couple. There's about 3 different Christmas tracks that are like a background to the fact that this horrible killer is trying to kill someone. The ending was strange but fun. That the killer got in, she didn't succeed in killing him, and the Crypt Keeper kind of hints that she dies anyway, but the daughter lives. I'd still love to know how he got into the house, because there's no way the daughter could have carried him up. Not from the distance that she had to carry him up, or any distance. She was tiny. But it did kind of hint that maybe she ran down and opened the front door for him. So it was just a fun to see him finally come into the house and get what he came for. And she didn't get away with the killing because she died, in theory. But overall, if you're only going to watch one episode of this show, I would either, from season 1, because I've not watched any of the other seasons. I've not watched any episodes, I don't think, from the other seasons. I would definitely recommend And All Through Their House. So that was my list of season 1 episodes, Tales from the Crypt, ranked from worst to best. Let me know down below what your list is. Like I said before, I'm really interested to know what it is. Let me know as well if you've been watching this series. I'm super interested to know, because it does take a lot of time to watch and then edit everything. And to be honest, I'm not getting a lot of views on my Tales from the Crypt series. Which means I thought I'd get more than I am. I thought it'd be a popular series. It is a popular series, but I thought I would get more views on it. But maybe people just haven't found me yet. But please let me know in the comments below if you're enjoying the series, because I do want to go on to series 2 and start watching that, because I've never seen that before. So it's all going to be completely new to me, which I'm definitely interested in. But if no one's watching it, then I'll just watch it by myself, because I'd rather put stuff out there that people are going to watch. But please let me know if you're watching it, if you're enjoying it, and what your list is in the comments below. So that was it for now for Tales from the Crypt. My name is Scott. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're all taking care of yourselves. And I'll hopefully see you all in series 2.